Folks, come on in and take your seats. Folks, come on in. Welcome to the Rotary Club of San Jose and meeting number 5,505. Yes, terrific. Thank you, everyone. Great to be here. Good to see everyone. I want to start off by, I'll introduce myself. My name is Matt Breaker, and I have the honor and privilege of leading our meetings in our club for this Rotary year. So thank you all for coming today. We've got a good show for you. Some unfortunate news. We had some great walk-up music lined up for a lot of folks, but we're having a slight technical difficulties, so we'll see if that works as we go through. But wanted to give you a heads up that we didn't forget about that. It's just countering some challenges. Okay, first let's start off by saying thank you to today's greeting line, which was the Pause to Consider Committee, led by Dagmar and Lisa right over. They've got their fabulous Rotary swag here. Terrific. And to our fearless leaders of that committee, don't leave without your challenge coin as appreciation for your great leadership on that committee. They do great things. We've seen photos of them previously out and about in the community. We got the traveling mics today. We've got Jane Lynn and Chief Paul Joseph. Jane, hello. Jane is going to be introduced a little later today, but tell us right now who your sponsor was, if you would.
Hi everyone, my name is Jane Lynn, and I work for Alpha X RE Capital. My sponsor is Rod Deardan.
Terrific.
Just like everyone else here.
Yes.
Nice to meet everyone here.
Yes. Chief Joseph, yes?
Yeah, Paul Joseph, Chief of Police at San Jose, and you, Matt Breaker, are my sponsor.
And I love it, bringing in the big dog here. Well, welcome, and thank you both for being on Traveling Mics today. Let's go to some guest introductions. Rotarians with guests, please stand up. We'll get the traveling microphone to you and do introductions. We'll try to start on this side of the room if we can. Here we go. Michelle, hello. Nice to see you.
Hi, very good to see you too. I'm so excited to introduce my guest. I'm now with All Temperature Service, and I'm bringing one of our service account executives, Nicole Finnegan.
Welcome. Good to see you. Okay. Someone's going to have to raise their hand because I can't see where we're going here. Hello? Oh. Here we go, right over here. Yes.
Hello, President Matt. My guest today is Dr. Uday Chowdhury. He's on the board of directors of Merrill West Credit Union and also with IBM.
Terrific. Well, welcome. Great talk for you. Thank you so much. Sal. Hello, Sal. Past President Sal Pizarro.
Hello, President Matt. My guest today is our daughter, Mia, who's off school this week. She's thrilled to hear her favorite speaker, Carl Salas.
I love it. Salas family in the house. That's the way to do it, as well as the Pizarro family. Here we go. What's next? Right over here. Steve Browdy.
Good to see you, President Matt. And my guest, actually, Weisbrott's guest today is Mary Fuller. She's the new dean at Lincoln Law School. And I know her membership application will be presented at the board of directors on Tuesday.
Terrific news all around. Well, welcome. Good to see you. Here we go. Yes, hi, Stephanie.
Hi, President Matt. I have a guest who's here for the second time today, Dan Montsier. He is a real estate developer and owner of Pinion Properties.
Okay.
And we're working on getting him to join.
Hi, Joan.
Hi, President Pat. Joan Escobar. My guest today is Jeannie Jacobs. Recently retired, probably, hopefully, looking for something to do, but I brought her because I so enjoy these talks, and I'm sure she's going to also.
Well, you've got a good one today. Terrific.
Yes.
Michael. Now, Michael, I got to tell you, I don't know if you know this, but I was talking to Kimberly. We had some fabulous walk-up music we're going to surprise you with, so we'll see if it works. I'm doubtful, but you'll have to come back so we can play that. But take it away with your introduction.
You're talking to my wife?
No further questions.
President Matt, thank you. Michael Mulcahy. I have a guest here today. My sponsor was Rod Deardan and my wife, Kimberly Mulcahy. And I am joined here today by Jessica Hellman, who in our District 6 Council office does communications and all of our public relations. Thank you.
Excellent. Welcome. John Ball.
President Matt, it's an honor to be in your presence today, but I also
What's
have
with
the
the
honor.
laughing? What's
I
with the
also.
laughing?
Okay, it's my turn.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
The floor
So
is
it's
yours.
also my privilege to welcome a guest of the Salases, and this is Jim Salata, who I'd like to stand. Don't clap yet, but I want you to know that he is a true friend of Rotary. He and his company demoed our walk-in cooler at the Rotary Barbecue Shed, which was not a small task, although he made short work of it, for no cost to our club. And I just want to thank him for doing that.
Gratitude. Yes. Thank you so much. And we're going to see you at the barbecue, I hope, Jim, celebrating all that. That would be great.
Hi, President
Hi, Deanna.
Matt.
Hello.
Deanna Persai. Sponsor is Kathy Kimball in Seattle. I have returning for a second time Viviana Barnwell. And she is a state disability advocate. She's ridiculously awesome, and she's submitting her application this weekend.
Ridiculous good news. I love it. That's terrific. Is that Sparky behind? Yes, it is.
Hello.
Jim.
Jim Sparacco, Director of Public Relations for the San Jose Sharks. Yay. My guest today is Chris Shea, who is the Senior Vice President of Government Affairs for Shark Sports and Entertainment.
Love it. Nice to see you. Yes. Excellent. Richard, take it away.
Hi, President Matt. My guest today is my son, Adam. Stand up. He's
Our work is never done. Our work is never done.
one of my favorite kids. He's a junior in college.
Welcome. Good to see you. A lot of family here. I love seeing that. Arthur Weisbrot, please take it away. I think your guest was...
Well, welcome, Jim. I'm so glad you're here. By the way, I have two guests again, although one has already been introduced. Teresa Frank is a dentist, a pianist, and a good friend of many, many years, and a good swimmer. And Mary Fuller, who's
Trivia.
already been introduced, is the new dean of Lincoln Law School, and we're so happy to have her with us. So thank you very
We
much.
absolutely are. Welcome to both of you. Thank you, and thank you, Arthur. All right, well, terrific. Thank you to all the Rotarians who brought guests, and thank you to the guests who are here. You got a great show coming up, and please, if you're not already application in process, please come check us out again. I think you'll like what you see. And along those lines, let's start off the meeting by hearing some of the stuff that we're doing out in the community. We have a Oh, it's working over here. It's just not working there. Well, while they're working on that, there we go. We have our fabulous Service to Seniors Committee. There we go. Which over the holidays went out to the Maroney Gardens and brought some joy and holiday spirit to that facility and that home for people. They went out there, they brought the Christmas tree, decorated, they set up a bingo game, they brought out some tasty treats. Here we go with the room with the bingo game going on. Another one showing the fun that's going on. Here we go. And here's the group that was out there. They're led by Kelly Dipple. Great work making people feel good, celebrate the holidays. Feels good to do good. So thank you to our Service to Seniors. And now it is time. We love new members. Jane, where are you? Jane Lynn, come on down. Okay, show some love to Jane as she's walking up here, folks. So, as I think you know, we were playing a little game this year with the new introductions to kind of make connections for people. So, please, you know the routine. On your feet, folks. Here we go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Jane a series. We've got the bio. Let's get the bio. Let's get a little fun fact up there. And there are some fun facts up there. We've got her full bio in the lobby. We've got it on the website, on the Rotary page, and in social media. So please check that out and learn out more about Jane. But we're going to play this little game to make some connections. I'm going to ask Jane a series of either-or questions. If you have the same answer as her, please remain standing. If you have a different answer, take a seat and remain seated. But keep paying attention because you may have other things in connection. We're going to narrow the room and see who's got some things in common. Are we ready? Are you ready, Jane?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
I saw the questions.
That's okay. There are no secrets here. Full transparency. Okay, first question. Would you rather sing in the shower or sing at karaoke night?
Karaoke night.
Woo! We got some bold folks in the balls for the couple is okay. Here we go. Would you rather go away for a spa retreat with yoga or an action-packed weekend with hiking and biking?
Definitely spa retreat.
Okay. One more. I'm going to do one more. Would you rather travel for adventure or travel for relaxation?
Relaxation.
I like this number. If you're still standing, please come introduce yourself to Jane. You got some things in common. If you didn't, still standing, yeah, let's show some love to Jane. Absolutely, take it away. Thank you, Jane. Terrific. That was quick. And thank you to Rod Deardan, who was the sponsor. That's terrific. Speaking of sponsors, folks, one of the things we're doing, as I think you know, is we're injecting some energy and enthusiasm to membership and growing. We are, at the end of every quarter, we are having a drawing for a prize. And what we do is we have, if you sponsored someone, we'll get your name here. And if you sponsored 2 people, that means your name is twice going to be entered. We're going to put them in this old jury box, pull it out, and see who the winner is amongst our raffle for people who sponsored in quarter 2. The winner gets a $100 gift certificate, Scott Seafood. So that sounds good. Good food. Okay, so I'm going to read off the names as I put them in here. We've got Heather Lerner, James Williams, Rod Deardan again, Matt Breaker, happy to see him doing my part, Megan Flug, oh my God, Rod Deardan, Tony Mata, Matt Robin, Josh Burrows, Rod Deardan is doing it still, Sarju, Melody Walsh, Deanna Persai, and past President Carl Salas. Let's throw these in here, folks, if you can do this. One moment, please. I think we know that. Oh, God. Technically, there we go. Here we go. Let's spin it around. Are we ready? You're on the edge of your seats, I can tell. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Taking it out right here. The winner is Melody Walsh. Are you in the house? I love it. Okay. $100 gift certificate. Thank you. Bon appetit. Yes. Okay. And thank you to all our sponsors and people who are out there trying to grow the club. That's fabulous and important. Next up, we've got we're sticking with the theme here. We're going to hear from our membership chair, Sarju. Where are you? Are you in the house today? I saw you. Show some love to Sarju as he comes up here to give us a little membership update. He and Karen Fox are leading that committee, doing great work. So, Sarju, take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I don't know who that guy is in the picture there. That used to be me, I think. All right, so here's our current membership. I would love to be able to share good news with you all. I would love to, but I really need everyone's help here. Our membership numbers are down. We're at 394 right now, which means we've dipped from last year. Despite us having a banner year of recruitment, we've had resignations, we've had folks decease, people relocate for any of a number of different reasons. And of course, we're having these sorts of discussions at the membership committee level to figure out, is there a pattern here? What do we need to do to hold on to our members? In addition to bringing on new ones, right? So membership committee is primarily focused on recruitment. But of course, once we get folks to join, we also need to engage and retain. So the good news is we have 25 new members between brand new folks as well as 3 reinstatements, so that's great. But we're down 1 because we've lost 26. Now the good news is there are 4 that are pending approval, so we're about to be net positive again. But we really need to be a bigger group, right? We've got plenty of great people here in the room today, but we'd love to have more. We'd love to have more people engaged. We'd love to have more funding for all the great work that Rotary does. So please, the membership committee is sort of we're the first step in recruitment and developing strategy and whatnot, but it's really all of you in the room that really make it happen. So with that in mind, here are all the folks that we have so far this year that have recruited successfully a member. So please, let's give a round of applause to everybody who's on this list. And congrats to Melody for winning the raffle. There are benefits beyond just having great new additional members. You can win $100 to Scott Seafood, right? So yeah, if you see a number associated with a person, that means they've recruited more than just the one. And as always, on our leaderboard is Rod Diridon with 7 recruits this year. We love to try to give him a run for his money. So let's get at it. Just a refresher on our membership process. Here's what it looks like. Folks just need to visit twice, 2 times, whether that's coming to one of these meetings or coming to one of our barbecues. We do require that they come to at least one of our Wednesday meetings, but coming to our barbecue or to our gala can also count as a visit. The applications are at the bottom of the weekly news bulletins that we get every week. Weekly, imagine that. We get our weekly bulletins every week. So it's also on our website, and so there's no excuse for not being able to get your hands on an application. But if you do find an excuse, just email me or any member of the membership committee, and we'll take care of it. Need to get your applications in by the first Wednesday of the month because the membership committee meets the following Tuesday, and that's the least amount of time that we need to vet all the references that we get. So we appreciate you getting them in earlier than the deadline, if at all possible. If you're recruiting someone, please give them a heads up that we're going to be calling on their references so that they know that they're not just identifying people that can vouch for them, but people who are also going to be available because we'll be making those phone calls. Okay, so once we vet the applications of the committee at the membership committee level and they're approved, then it goes on to the board the following Tuesday, and so it's the 3rd Tuesday of the month that we vote on new members. So that's why I say there are 4 pending right now. So we've got 4 that are being forwarded to the board on Tuesday. As a refresher, for new members, it's a $500 initiation. That's a one-time fee. The annual fee is $975 plus $400 to the foundation. So $300 for our local foundation, $100 to international. If you're if you know of a former member who left within the last 3 years, they can come back without having to repeat their red badge year. I don't know why anybody would want to skip that. That's such a fun part of the process. But the other benefit is their reinitiation fee is only $100 rather than $500. So good reason to try to get those folks back. And they've experienced Rotary in the past, which means hopefully there's good reasons for why they want to come back and maybe not relevant reasons anymore as to why they left. And as you know, you saw there are prizes and incentives involved with recruiting folks. Congrats again to Melody for winning the quarterly raffle today. We also have for our first 40 folks to recruit new members, you get a free lunch. You don't get them multiple times, unfortunately, for Rod Diridon. Otherwise, he'd be getting free lunches all year. But of course, the most important thing is the bragging rights, right? We all love to be able to say, yeah, we brought in a new member. All right, so lastly, I love having people bring out their cell phones for a good reason while we're in this meeting. So please grab your cell phones and think about reaching out to somebody and just consider for yourself, like, let me think of who should I be reaching out to? Who's missing in the room? Who do you see that belongs in this room and isn't here? What industries are we light on? Is there a new leader in town? And what about that one person you've been working on but you haven't talked to in a little bit? Please reach out to them, send them a text, and here's just one option here. 2026 needs to be the year you join Rotary. The sooner the better. Can you join me for the meeting next Wednesday or a Wednesday soon? Come up with whatever you want, but that's hopefully get the juices flowing. All right, with that, I'll hand it back to President Matt. Thank you.
Sarju, membership, of course, a very important part of the club. I know you and Karen, your co-chair, are working very hard on it. I just wanted to give each of you a little challenge coin for this year. Thank you for your leadership and for all your hard work. So thank you, Sarju. Karen, I'll bring yours in a bit. Okay, yes, thank you. I saw people looking around to see for Rod when his name was mentioned. I do want to share some news with the club. Rod Diridon, unfortunately, is facing some serious health challenges. He is in the hospital right now, and he's, well, I'm telling you that. I'll also tell you that Stu Parks, unfortunately, is also at a very challenging state. He's in hospice, and I'll also tell you that Jim Free's wife is battling cancer right now, and we do have some cards out in the lobby that it'd be lovely if everyone could sign and we could get them to them and their loved ones today. So wanted to share that with everyone. I know that's upsetting news, but let's turn the page to some uplifting news. Today we're going to hear from Michael Mulcahy because there's a lot going on downtown as we get ready for the Super Bowl and as we revitalize the community. And he's the perfect person to give us an update on that. And we're going to see if this music works. It's not working. I'm so disappointed. Show some big old-fashioned love for Michael Mulcahy, folks.
That goes that way? Yes, thank you. Thank you, President Matt. So my walk-up song was going to be, "Let's Groove Tonight." So that's really a bummer that I didn't get it. But we'll have you back. I just gave you a little titty, right? Little ditty. So thank you so I'm here representing the Downtown Committee, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. So I borrowed a map from our friend Chris Shea and Jim Sparacco from the Sharks because I think it really sort of tells the story of something I want to tell you about, which is stitching districts. Now, stitching districts is really a term you might have heard from the mayor who's been here to speak before. You might be involved in the Downtown Association, but it's this idea that we have different little hubs of activity in and around our downtown, and for that matter, other parts of San Jose, where if you're downtown and you're at SOFA, the connective tissue to get to another part of the district is not great. And so how do we do a better job of tying these hubs of activity together better? So that sort of defines that. Partnership, you've got to have stakeholders in all those various areas step up and say, we want to help, we want to be a part of this, not just with their time and attention, but with real resources and money. And the last is our shared goal. We've got to come up with a shared goal, all right? So I'm not a surfer. Well, I'm not a good surfer. But I do know that one of the best rules about surfing is when you see a wave, you paddle like hell to get into that wave. And so I was involved in stitching districts before I was elected. But as I got elected, one of the first things I realized is we've got all of the ingredients that I just mentioned. We've got sort of an identified area to increase connectivity. We've got the partnership, which I'll tell you about, and we've got a shared goal. So if we use this as an example, so this is, using the journey of a fan, right? We've got the SAP Pavilion on sort of the west side of 87, which has always been sort of like a stopper for our growth beyond the downtown. And so how do we sort of make that disappear? And one of the ways is with our Stitching Districts initiative, which is if you look out on the right, number 4, San Pedro Square Market, you've got the McHenrys, the Mennys, and the Swensons who have created, and others who have really created a very cool vibe over there. But it's really disconnected, not just because of 87, but by distance, and just it's not a very pretty walk to get to Little Italy and all the way over to SAP. So what we've really figured out is different placemaking and investment and how to create that connectivity. So pretend you're at San Pedro Square Market. You've now jumped on Shark's Way. How cool is that, right? You've now jumped on Shark's Way. And as we speak, there are crosswalks along that continuum along what was West St. John, now moving west towards 87, where there'll be 300 sharks on the ground leading your way to SAP. And they're happening as we speak. I think they got a weather delay, but nonetheless. And as you get to what has always been a problem, 87, you go under there, there's some cute vintage lights, but you never know what you're going to find there. So there's a package of investment that's already paid for, that's being scheduled. It includes murals and more lighting and sort of signage on both sides of 87. God, how did we do that? Caltrans has been a willing partner to help us. So as you navigate, now you've landed on the west side of 87 in Little Italy. And Little Italy has been this burgeoning little neighborhood for a long time, disconnected from lots of things, but still really vibrant and cool. So we've done some painted crosswalks. We have $1.6 million in lighting that will come to Little Italy from Shark's Way as well as Little Italy Way, which goes from Julian to bump right into Sharks Way. So we've created a there and about 30 more light fixtures, big tall ones, the 32-footers, but also more of those vintage lights with string lights to connect them. Now you hit the Guadalupe River Park. On the left-hand side, you've got the old tennis courts, which have been renovated. We've got 4 pickleball courts, a renovated tennis court. And if you went out there right now, you'd see city staff out there planting, and they've just done a new pathway. Lots of investment right there. And now you've hit the bridge overlooking the Guadalupe River. And if you look down, you're probably going to see Carl or Marianne Salas in a kayak like they were last Saturday, tootling around. But at the auction, make sure you buy that package and go tootling around with them in their kayak. And then the next thing you see is really the grand dame of what we've been working on, which is Arena Green West. And I'm looking down at the Salases, who have been our biggest investors there, aside from the city of San Jose, and Jim and Chris Shea, Spracco from the Sharks, who have been on our investors. And I'm so glad that Jim is here today, because you have been instrumental in making sure that the actual dirty work gets done over there. So we've disassembled the carousel. That's Jim Salata. We've disassembled the carousel and created a pavilion. And it's a great space. Carl, do you want to give me some of your time? I know you're talking later. And so then on the other side of the street is the Milligan lot, which was a great family who had the Milligan News lot there forever, which is now a parking lot for Sharks fans, but it's also a contributor to people that want to use the park and that want to use and go to Little Italy. We're a couple of steps away from totally releasing that lot. So what I want to tell you is, go out there. Go walk that path, and do it now, do it at the end of March, and do it when FIFA is here, because there is real investment happening right now. I'm going to borrow time at another meeting to talk about the Guadalupe River Park, because that's the other piece that is happening. And so I want to make sure that people get out and use the Guadalupe River Park Trail. If you haven't been out there for a while, if you said, 6 months ago, go out there now. Every single day, we're hearing from commuters and users who are getting back there. We're up 100% in usage on the Guadalupe River Trail, and we want to double that in 2026, and I know we can do it. So thank you very much for your time. Get out and use your park. Get out and walk San Jose Sharks Way. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michael Mulcahy. That was terrific. Now, next up, we've got Around Town with Sal. Now, who can name what his usual walk-up music is, since we don't have it? Can anyone? That was a very good guess. That was what was not James Bond. Anyone else? Let the good times roll. Impressive. Someone's paying attention. That was his theme during his presidency. Show some love, past President Sal, for Around Town.
Thank you, President Matt. Of course, we just learned that valuable lesson for 2026. Never give an elected official a microphone. You'll never get it back. All right. So happy New Year. This is the year we get it right. Yeah? No? Maybe? Next year? Yeah. The year we get it right. Okay. Before I get started, a couple of late breaking items. First, I just learned that downtown ice has been extended through February 8th, so through the Super Bowl. So, if you haven't managed to fall on your butt yet, you can still go out and do that. Second, you probably noticed that there's scaffolding around the Bank of Italy building now, so they're doing some exterior work on there. Excited to see that project going. Carl and Marianne and I were in that building a couple of months ago, and it needs a lot of work inside. So the big thing happening over the next month is, of course, Super Bowl 60. And while the game is taking place in Santa Clara and a bunch of stuff's happening in San Francisco, we still have a lot of game-connected activity happening here in San Jose. First, happening January 31st, I just wrote about this, is this Invisible Skies art project taking place in the San Jose City Hall Plaza. It's kind of oversubscribed right now with 2,000 people holding illuminated umbrellas, but it'll be a hoot to come out and watch. Taiko's going to be out there. They're going to have, I believe, new ballet dancers out there. And it should be a great night. It starts at 5:30, just as it's getting dark. And of course, we've got some other things, what used to be called Media Night and is now Super Bowl opening nights taking place in McHenry Convention Center. There's going to be drone shows both that night and on February 6th. The drone show on the 2nd is going to be in SOFA. The one on February 6th is going to be in front of City Hall. If you saw the San Jose Jazz drone shows over the summer, it's going to be very similar to that, so it should be pretty cool to watch. And there's a couple of big block parties going on in front of City Hall, Kehlani and Dom Dalla. I'm sure you guys all know who they are. But thousands of people will be filling the streets. So both those concerts are sold out. So it's just going to be a really active and vibrant time here. And if you want to see what else is going on related to San Jose's work, not just for the Super Bowl, but for March Madness and FIFA, what you want to bookmark is sj26.sanjose.org. That's the San Jose 26 website. They'll have updates there throughout the year. Okay. One of my favorite places in downtown San Jose is the San Jose Jazz Break Room. Great little intimate office lobby. The old Valley Title building turned into a jazz club. Where else can you listen to jazz music while you're leaning on a copy machine? They've got their winter series going. This is a really affordable way to support musicians. Tickets are $21 to $27. And they've got stuff going on every weekend. If you haven't been there, I really invite you to check it out. And they've even got a good little fundraiser going, which is you can become a break room backer. For a $95 membership, you get 4 free tickets, or 4 tickets included. So that's a great way to kind of just try to explore that scene. And we have a bunch of other things happening, performances, both visual arts and performing arts. I'll even say this one because I left it off the list, which is silly because I'm going there with my daughter at the end of the month, and that's Symphony San Jose is back at the end of the month with Hopelessly Romantic at the California Theater on January 24th and 25th. But we've also got art openings at the ICA. Work San Jose always does a very irreverent and fun thing for Valentine's Day. And I really want to point out Brian Copeland's Not a Genuine Black Man coming back to City Lights Theater for that show's 30th anniversary. That's what we got going on downtown, and we'll see you in February.
Lots happening in the city. Thank you, Past President Sal. Okay, next week, folks, our speaker is Hugh Copeland, founder and CEO of Tasimba LLC. Keystone Legacy, Be Like an Elephant is the title of the talk. Going to be interesting, so please come out for that. And now for the main event, folks. And I have to tell you, we also had some terrific walk-up music planned for this, but unfortunately, technical difficulties. Show some love to Marianne Salas, who's going to do our introduction here, folks.
When I first met Carl Salas in the fall of 1980, I thought his radiant glow was a function of our sexual chemistry. Later, I learned that he had recently left the nuclear power industry to found Salas O'Brien Engineers. And after 5 decades of design and field study in every form of energy production, transmission, management, and usage, he positively vibrates with his knowledge and passion for his life's work. It's my great pleasure to present to you, backed by popular demand and on short notice, the greatest husband on earth, Carl Salas. And his walk-up music is, I'm just as bad as I used to be.
We just sleep together. I don't know what she's going to say. So last year, believe it or not, it was almost to the day last year, I was asked to give this thing on nuclear power and what was happening. And I got a text from David Combe. I read it on Sunday morning. He said, we're desperate. We need somebody to talk. We had a cancellation. So here I am again. But what I've been able to do is it's a year later, and things were happening in the nuclear industry a year ago. But since then, they've accelerated. And so I'm going to kind of brief some of you who weren't here on some of the things I touched on, but really answer a lot of questions people had after my last presentation and talk more about what's really been happening in the last year. So, as a reminder, San Jose was the heart of the nuclear industry in the United States when I moved here in 1974. And in fact, a lot of you have been to the plant right there at Monterey and Kirtner. A lot of you have seen the plant. It's a shopping area. It's called the plant because here's a picture of it in 1958. It was General Electric's Atomic Equipment Power Division. They made, in fact, that little thing there that little guy there, we made all the cooling rods for the nuclear reactors here, and that was a test facility for it. Right here where the plant is, where you go shopping at Home Depot now. It's pretty amazing. Now, I got here in 1974. I'm from the East Coast, and I got a job offer in San Jose, which I'd never heard of, and in 1974, we had taken over, General Electric had taken over 1850 and 1900 South 10th Street. So we had about 500 engineers there doing the marketing and all the design for the nuclear reactors all over the world for General Electric. I think about it now, I just a kid then, and it's like, wow, can you imagine if we were still the center of the nuclear industry in the United States and world? It's pretty amazing. I was just a guy then. So that's really what San Jose was relative to the nuclear industry. I want to show you what's going on now because what happened is about 3 months before I spoke last year at this time, Microsoft had just signed a contract, it's called a power purchase agreement with Constellation Energy to restart 3 Mile Island. 3 Mile Island was the reason General Electric shut down the nuclear industry in this, but it was just signed a contract to reboot reactor number 2 at 3 Mile Island because, well, I'm going to explain because. But also, in the last year, the governor of New York came out and announced that New York is going to be building the first nuclear reactor in a generation, maybe more, in New York. And I kind of wish our mayor, our government would say, hey, California's going to lead the way in this. And I'm going to show you why. It's pretty kind of simple in a way, but I'm going to show you why. Diablo Canyon is the last of 4 nuclear reactors we had in California in the 70s. 3 have been shut down. We still have Diablo Canyon left. Diablo Canyon was supposed to be shut down by now. But in 2023, it was agreed that we're going to run it probably for the next 20 years. And I want to show you why all of this has happened, why all of this has changed. We all want to be green, right? In California right now, if I plug into the wall here with my little computer or these lights, the electrons flowing in here right now are split 6 ways. Power is produced by coal, natural gas, nuclear power, solar, wind, and hydro. That's 99% of our power. Right now I can plug it in. And so I'm going to start by showing you the numbers. I start by showing you the numbers on coal. Now you might say, coal? California doesn't use any coal. We're so green. California imports between 10% and 30% of its power every year. That's for the whole year. It used to be 4%, we're down to about 2.2%, is imported from Arizona and Nevada from coal plants. So every time you want to get in your high horse and say how great we are and how green we are still using 2% of our annual power right now coming out of that from coal. That's not a bad thing, but it's a reality, a practical reality. So I want to give you a sense of apples and apples comparison with these different fuel sources where electricity is coming from. So I used 1,000 megawatts per day. If you had to build a power plant to run San Jose, it would be about 1,000 megawatts. Most power plants are about 1,000 megawatts. So I thought, how much energy does it take to run a coal plant to run San Jose for a day? So you may or may not be surprised here, it's about 6 million pounds of coal. Now that doesn't mean anything to most of us, so I want to show you a hopper car that you're kind of sort of familiar with. 30 of these every day coming into San Jose power plant, digging up the coal, stoking the furnaces. That's how much coal it takes to run coal plant for San Jose for one day. How much greenhouse gas? 19 billion pounds. That sounds like a lot. Billions always sounds like a lot. But let me give you a perspective on that in a minute. Okay, so that gives you coal. We're only at 2%, 2.2%, but we aren't as pure as we all like to think we are. So let's look at natural gas, which is about 45% of the energy coming out, the electrons coming out of the wall right now and powering those lights. That uses about 80 million cubic feet of gas for one day to power San Jose. That's about 9 billion pounds of greenhouse gas. Now you will see, and a lot of you are in marketing, you will see that oftentimes you hear, oh, well, propane, natural gas, that's clean energy. And it is, from a marketing standpoint, it's much better than coal, right? And in fact, California uses coal. The US uses about 16% of our total power is coal in the US. So it's definitely clean energy, right? From a certain marketing perspective, it's certainly clean energy. But I also wanted to show you something else. It's hard to get perspective. So you got the coal cars, 30 coal cars a day. So I put that little picture of those little 7 cubic foot tanks we use in our grill in the backyard. So you need 1.2 million of those a day. Go to Ace Hardware, get one, run over to the plant. 1.2 million of those a day to run San Jose's power. So now, why is, also, you need to know this. So Salas O'Brien, my company, designs power plants, right? And we design to the allowable emissions. In other words, as long as the equipment produces less than 10 parts per million of NOx, nitrogen oxide, no problem. Put up a smokestack. Whew. You've all seen the Metcalf plant on Highway 101. It's 600 megawatts, plus or minus. It's probably on right now for reasons I can answer during Q&A. But take a good breath. Just breathe in some of the NOx from the Metcalf power plant, because that's allowable. Less than 10 parts per million is allowable. Probably a little micron or two, but still, that's what's going on. So now, let me show you nuclear power and why you're having this resurgence. So, is it 6 million pounds of coal? Is it 80 million cubic feet? It's 8 pounds. It's 8 pounds of uranium. It's about this much. That'll run the city of San Jose for a whole day. And it'll displace 80 million cubic feet of natural gas, which is 45% of our current power. Greenhouse gas, 0. NOx, 0. Sulfur dioxide, 0. Particulate matter, 0. Also, that 19 billion pounds, and from all the power plants in the US, we are allowing, there's allowable limits, my company designs the allowable limits. What is it, a million tons of allowable NOx per year. There's allowable NOx coming out of Metcalf. Not a drop of uranium is allowed to come out, and in fact, it's heavily monitored and it's heavily controlled. Whereas again, at Metcalf, as long as we're monitoring below 10 parts per million, it's okay. So again, that's why, or that's part of the reason that nuclear is people are saying, whoa, Microsoft is saying, whoa, I want to be green. This is the way to be green because I need power. And in fact, we all need power. Have you guys been in an outage lately? We all want to be green. Everybody's green. It's a cloudy day. I got solar and we've got batteries. Boy, the power goes out. Just turn on my gasoline generator, which is emitting particulates and NOx, and turn that generator on, baby, because I need that power. That's how we are. That's who we are. Okay, so this isn't the only reason, believe it or not, because a lot of people say, well, shoot, we've got solar. Why don't we just displace Diablo Canyon? Let's shut that thing down with solar panels. So there's an aerial of Diablo Canyon. It's about 250 acres. It's about 2,200 megawatts. There's 2 reactors with 1,100 megawatts each. And by the way, there are no smokestacks on a nuclear power plant. You will not see any smokestacks because there's no emissions. So anyway, let me show you, if I said, well, let's put in 2,200 megawatts of solar energy. And the calculations are surprisingly simple. So what I did is I took a map. I kind of went out on Google Maps, and I did the calcs. And let me show you how many solar panels I'd need to put in. It's about 2,000 acres. But that's not all. Because those reactors and our natural gas plants like Metcalf, they have what's called a capacity factor of 95+%. So that means they can run all day, all night, right? Run all day, all night. Need power at night, need power at midnight, need power at 4 in the morning. They're running all day and all night. Solar, you guys all know the sun comes up and it goes down, right? So I've sized this to 2,200 megawatts. But guess when I get it? I get it for about an hour at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on June 21st, which is the summer solstice. So the capacity factor of a solar system is barely 20–25%. And so I would really need about 8,000 acres of panels. But wait, as J. Alexander says, it gets better. So I'm going to take that same graph and show you about the seasonal issues with solar energy. So same graph, that's June 21st, summer solstice. That's when I get most of my power, or the peak power I can get. But look what happens on December 21st. No surprises, right? There's your curve. In the wintertime, and Marianne and I have a solar system, heat pumps, batteries, the whole thing, but in the wintertime, we barely get the solar. All summer long, we're getting free air conditioning. Love it. We didn't used to have air conditioning. We put it in and we electrified our house. But now in the wintertime, take a look at that. We're making electric heat with our heat pumps, and our electric bill is really high. And in fact, 2 weeks ago, when we had a week of rain, my solar was 0. And so all of us say, I need power, I need power, I need power. So again, if I really dealt with the seasonal effect and the capacity factor, I'd probably need 20,000 acres of solar panels. I am very pro-solar. I believe part of the solution of our grid is for each one of us to have ultimate solar on our roofs. But you have to understand it's only part of the solution. And once again, these numbers, this physics, is why nuclear power is coming back. Now, I do want to mention that we have 54 power plants producing 19% of the U.S. power right now, nuclear power plants. And last year I mentioned that we've moved away from the larger power plants, and there are about 80 different companies putting out small modular reactors, SMRs, right now. They're smaller, they're 300 megawatts, maybe 30 megawatts. And Bill Gates was one of the people, TerraPower, that was really leading the charge with his company, TerraPower. I also mentioned last year that we have 70+ nuclear submarines running around, and they've been running around since 1950. So the technology of nuclear power it's like the technology of your gas furnace, your gas hot water heater at home. It's been around for, over almost 100 years, 75 years. And one of the things I tell people is, like, when you plan a trip to San Diego, do you say, oh my God, there's going to be a nuclear aircraft carrier docked in the harbor. I'm not going to go to Coronado Island. And so a lot of what's happening is politics. When I tell people, you know, I'm really kind of pro-nuclear, they go, oh my God, nuclear, it's so dangerous. Then they go to San Diego and they go to Coronado Island, and they sit on the beach and they talk about how great it is. And it's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So again, what you're going to find is lots of the reason that we haven't been able to continue to expand in nuclear is really not the technology. It's the politics. So let me keep going and show you that last year when I spoke, you can see the date there. Some of you can see the date. It's January 12th. I spoke on January 15th. Constellation Energy, which is the company that signed to restart 3 Mile Island, their stock had gone nuts. And in fact, I picked the stock. I showed you the stock from last year. And from the last 2 years, it's Constellation Energy. It's gone up 200%. A lot of it is because it's focusing on nuclear power. But more importantly, so last year I spoke on June 15th. Their stock price was $210 an hour. If you had listened to me and run out, I checked it yesterday, it was $334. You should have bought 1,000 shares. It would be $100,000 if you just listened to me. Seriously. So now I'm kind of going to show you what's going on most recently. So this just came out last week. Last week, on 1/9, I got a feed from my Associated Press feed. Meta signed up a huge contract with TerraPower to deliver nuclear energy. They signed a deal for 6,600 megawatts. That's three Diablo Canyons. They're building a data center in Ohio called Prometheus that is pretty darn big. 6,600 megawatts is basically 7 San Jose's in terms of power. And what do? They contracted with 2 existing nuclear reactors for about 2,100 megawatts. But you can do the math, they're 4,500 megawatts short. So they contracted with TerraPower, Bill Gates' company, to provide, their reactor is called a Natrium reactor. Up to 8 total. They have 2 on contract and building right now, and 6 more are options to finish when the Prometheus is done. Now what I want to do is, last year I said you should have invested in Constellation Energy. I thought, wow, I wonder if TerraPower is publicly traded, right? They aren't. But I do want to show you. I looked to see who's involved with TerraPower, and besides Bill Gates, Ventures, which is NVIDIA's venture capital arm, is involved with TerraPower. There are some heavy hitters right now. And by the way, NVIDIA was developed here in San Jose at the Denny's down on Blossom Hill. And they're in Santa Clara. But I keep thinking, man, wouldn't it be great if San Jose was the center of nuclear power for the next 20 years? But anyway, so there's stuff happening. There's lots of money going into it. There's lots happening right now. Now, I've had a number of, so I wanted to show you TerraPower. This is their little Natrium reactor. And the difference in technology now between the submarines we have and the aircraft carriers and the nuclear power plants that are running 19% of our power is that all those plants are high pressure, about 2,000 psi, pounds per square inch of pressure, and they're water plants. All the new plants are liquid sodium, and that makes it for much safer solutions during an accident. So that's where the technology has gone, is kind of nothing new in a way, except for the coolant they're using, which is liquid sodium, at atmospheric pressure, as opposed to 2,000-pound steam and hot water. So, a lot of people had said, well, how about the waste? What are we going to do with the waste? First of all, it's 8 pounds, gang. What are we doing with all the waste and the emissions coming out of the other things we're using right now as we speak? But some people say, what do we do with the waste? And so I do want to show you what's going on with the waste. And it's not necessarily pretty, but it's slightly improving. So during Q&A you can ask me, but there are spent fuel pools in every reactor. They've put in spent fuel pools. They basically take the used rods and they put them in. They circulate water because they're pretty hot, and that's what protects everyone. That's been the norm for all of the U.S. and Japan. Fukushima accident had that situation, and that's been what has happened and what continues to happen for most of our spent fuel in the U.S. and world. We've gone now recently to dry cask storage, so there's no energy required inside of the dry casks. They actually are able to store after a couple of years, they actually store the waste fuel in these dry casks, very low maintenance, pretty low danger threshold, so it's pretty manageable relative to particularly the spent fuel pools. Now where it should go, and it could go, is in Yucca Mountain. The U.S. has spent $20 billion on a safe storage for all the spent fuel in the world. They've drilled 5 miles of tunnels and salt caves in Yucca Mountain, Nevada. It's been there. It's waiting to be used. Technically feasible. It's all sound. But the politics, nobody wants, even in Nevada where they take a lot of risks, nobody wants it in their backyard. And get on Google Maps and see where Yucca Mountain is. It's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, honestly, if I could, and I had an empty lot near my house, I swear I'd put a dry cask storage, and I'd make a lot of money because people are trying to store this somewhere. Now, my neighbors might not like it, but I'd give them this talk and we'd be fine. The other thing I'm going to show you about waste is that what the French are doing. So the French generate about 65 to 70% of their power from nuclear. They've been full speed ahead since the 70s. And we look at spent fuel as waste to be stored. The French look at used spent fuel as a valuable recyclable product. And in fact, they built a reprocessing site in La Hague They actually recycle 96% of their fuel. They turn it back into active uranium, active plutonium. They use it in the power plants. So only 4% becomes high-level waste. So that's of that 8 pounds, 0.3 pounds. We got 8 pounds to deal with. They've got 0.3 pounds to deal with. So, you know, there are different ways that could be done, can be done, whether it's Yucca Mountain or actually reprocessing this stuff. But all of this is manageable. And I contend, personally, that in addition to solar and wind and batteries, which we need and are very reliable, I don't like breathing Metcalf NOx and breathing the particulates from all of you guys and gals who turn on your generators every time there's an outage. So there's a lot of positive going on. There's a lot of money going in, and nuclear power is something to really consider. I mean, as a city, as a state, and as a nation. I want to end by I got on Google, and you know, if I say to my neighbor, I'm going to put in a dry cast storage here, I got some room and I can make a lot of money, I'll give you a little bit of it, they would say, oh my God, no. But look at the car parked in my yard. I asked Google what the odds are, the lifetime odds of dying in a car accident. What do you think that is? It's 1 in 93. And so there's about 93 of us in here right now. I got some bad news for somebody. but it is that. So that, you know, that's something to be aware of. But we accept that risk, which is 1%. In fact, I was talking to someone today here, and they just lost some friends through an automobile accident. So it's very real. It's very large. That probability is very large. So what do you think the odds are of dying from a nuclear accident if you go to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, or you live within 50 miles of Diablo Canyon? Same source. It's a little bit lower. It's 1 in a billion. It's 1 in 1 billion. I had to work on the zeros. I'm kind of good at math, but I get confused out that far. The point is only that, you know, we're the heart of Silicon Valley. California leads the nation. New York's putting in nuclear power plants. Bill Gates, NVIDIA is looking at small modular reactors. At least be aware, and when someone says to you, nuclear power, oh my God, what a risk, just say, you know, maybe you should get rid of your car and start walking if you want to be green. Anyway, that's what I wanted to chat with you about today. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, that was some love to Carl. We've got a few minutes here for some follow-up questions, so if we get the traveling mics right over here. We'll start with Ed right here.
What do you say, Ed? Oh, you need a mic.
I have a mic.
Chief Justice was called out on a very important...
Thank you so much again. Great presentation. I'm curious, how small is small for one of those small nuclear reactors? I'm sure there's a range, but what's the typical size?
Well, the ones that Bill Gates is building right now are 300 megawatts, so they're half the size of Metcalf. They're half the size of Metcalf. But some of the smaller ones as low as 25 megawatts, so they could run a university. We were looking at UC San Diego, and 25 megawatts would run that university.
But physical size?
Oh, physical size. Well, that's why I showed you the 250 acres for Diablo Canyon. The physical size is, you know, acres. But when you look at what's required all around it, the balance of plant and all that, it's quite large. I will tell you, and this is bad news for me, because I'm kind of pro-nuke, you can tell. But so I started doing the math on what I call the energy density. At Diablo Canyon, I looked at how many acres are needed per megawatt. And then I looked at the SMR, and it actually uses less acres per megawatt for the large plants than it does for the SMR. So not that much, but I thought there was going to be a big advantage. It's not.
I think Arthur's got the microphone right over
Well,
here.
you've convinced me. And I would, very difficult to convince. So I have placed $1,000 in the Salas Fund, and I want to invest in something in nuclear energy that you think is going to go wild. And where should we put my $1,000?
Well, if you and I could put it together, you and I start a company called.
You mean the Salas Weisbrot Company?
Yeah, yes, I had to start.
Yeah, no, but that's, I'm 80 years old. I don't know that I'm going to do that, but I want to invest my $1,000 in whatever you tell me to invest. What do I invest in?
Storage is a big deal. It's a big deal. The dry cask storage is a big deal. Again, if I
Give
was,
me
I
a
was-
company. Where am I putting my money?
Oh, I'd probably put it in TerraPower. I would probably put it in TerraPower.
Thank you. I'll let you know how we're doing.
Well, yeah, you'd have to have some friends, but that's what I do.
Larry?
Carl, my interest professionally, as you know, is real estate. So AI, mainly startups, are filling up vacant office space in San Francisco like crazy.
Yeah.
The mayor wants to make this area the data center of the country. Blend that into what you've been talking about in terms of the real estate aspects of data centers, AI, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you're talking about relative to nuclear or relative to anything else? Because relative to nuclear, I'm hoping Councilmember Mulcahy goes back and tells the mayor, we had to put a little 25 megawatt reactor up there by the wastewater treatment plant because it's get us on the cutting edge of what's going on. So, but I'm not quite sure if I understand. And the reason we have to build these data centers is because the reason we have to build something besides just solar is because the data centers are 24/7 and they are sucking up so much power it'll make your head spin. And I will tell you that every one of them my company works on are putting in these backup generators, just like your generator when you lose power at your house, except these backup generators are huge. Particulate matter, emissions right here. So.
Carl, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Well,
can I ask a quick question?
Oh, yeah, I'll stick around.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't know
he'll
what
stick
time it was.
around. So thank you, Carl Salas. Did not disappoint. Here we go. Let's get a photo taken.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's yours. That's all right. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Yes. Thank you, Carl. Terrific. Let's hear it one more time for Carl Salas. Did not disappoint. Okay, and he's going to stick around. I know there's some folks that still have questions, so that'll be great. Again, unfortunately, technology not working. Otherwise, I would have sent you out with one of my favorites, Garth Brooks. But with that, please come back next week. Technology will be working. We've got a great speaker lined up. And with that, our show's a wrap. So thank you so much.